Now at 5 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, 3 men accused in a grocery store robbery yesterday afternoon.
An attempted shoplifting incident at a San Antonio mall left one person hurt this afternoon. 2 people are on the run.
And the woman accused in the death of an elite cyclist is in Austin today. This afternoon, opening statements begin for the trial of Caitlin Armstrong.
And get a look at our live shot, and you can see absolutely not a cloud in the sky. Lots of sunshine for the next 5 days. In fact, warming temperatures as well. Any rain in the future? We'll have that coming up in a moment.
In a row, the Lone Star State wins an award recognizing its top performance in job creation and capital investment. You're watching 25 News now at 5. Good afternoon. Thank you for being with us. I'm James Munoz.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
Victoria police arrested 3 men accused in a robbery at a grocery store. It happened Tuesday afternoon. Gerald Potts, Derek Williams, and Jordan Ashton are at the Victoria County Jail. They face a number of charges, including aggravated robbery and engaging in organized crime. Police say the men robbed the Supermercado Morelos grocery store in the 2200 block of Lone Tree Road. It happened around 3:30 p.m. All 3 suspects from Houston, Potts and Ashton, are at the Victoria County Jail in lieu of $230,000 bond each. Williams has $270,000 bond. An educator in the Victoria ISD faces charges of misdemeanor assault involving a special needs student. The teacher was at Shalamer Elementary in the 2500 block of Mallet Drive. She's identified as 35-year-old Stephanie Overstreet from Cuero. The Texas Education Agency is investigating the incident and has placed a flag on her teaching certificate. The incident in question happened on September 21st. The Victoria County Sheriff's Office arrested this man, 34-year-old Jonathan Lee Martinez of Kingsville. He was wanted on a warrant for human smuggling. Martinez is at the Victoria County Jail, held without bond.
A Bay City man turned himself in on Monday as police sought him in connection to a shooting that left another man hospitalized last Thursday. The Bay City Tribune reports Roscoe Moore III was arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon after a 38-year-old man was shot in the stomach. Moore is in the Matagorda County Jail in lieu of $50,000 bond. And a 2-vehicle crash between Laurent and Red River Street took place today shortly before 2 p.m. A black Mercedes failed to yield at a turn signal, causing the northbound black Ford Focus to crash. No major injuries were reported, but the driver of the Mercedes was issued a citation for failing to yield and for not having a driver's license. The driver of the Ford Focus was issued a citation for having an expired license.
Lavaca County commissioners lifted the burn ban there. If you choose to burn, continue to use caution and have safeguards in place before you burn. The burn ban was put into effect in Lavaca County July 23rd. And the man who knows where we're doing on drought issues is Mac Perez. Mac, how are you?
Well, I'm good, thank you very much. Drought issues, let's just say the following. We're getting better, but we still need to be careful because we're not out of the woods for sure. And the reliability of, remember, they used to say something like regular as rain. Well, it's not regular anymore. We're looking at a fairly nice 64 out there this afternoon. We didn't get much warmer than that. In fact, we're looking for temperatures to start getting warmer as we head on into the weekends, and we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment. Stay tuned.
Thank you, Maclovio. Today, a Cornell University student was in court accused of threatening to kill Jewish people, including his classmates.
This comes as the FBI director is warning the escalating Israel-Hamas war could inspire violence in the U.S. and we'll bring you this story after a quick break.
Yeah, for now, a security guard was hurt following a shooting at a San Antonio mall Tuesday. It happened around 8 p.m. at the North Star Mall near Macy's. Police say a man was in his 40s and a woman. They were trying to shoplift when a loss prevention officer confronted them at the store's entrance. The man then shot the officer in the leg and took off. Officers located the security guard inside a storage room. She was taken to the hospital and is in stable condition. The suspects are still on the run.
The murder trial of the woman accused in the May 2022 killing of 25-year-old elite cyclist Anna Mariah Wilson began today. Prosecutors say Caitlin Armstrong was fueled by romantic jealousy when she shot Wilson. In addition to the murder charge, Armstrong also faces a federal charge of unlawful flight to avoid prosecution. She went to Costa Rica right after Wilson's death and was missing for more than 40 days. She was arrested in Costa Rica and was extradited to the U.S. in July of 2022 to face those charges. Now, a DPS trooper is recovering from a violent crash involving an 18-wheeler. He was on his way to a Chase and Katy area when it happened. New video shows the aftermath after that crash. The trooper was able to get out of the vehicle on his own, and DPS expects the trooper to be okay.
All right, I think we have that story now on the Cornell University student in court. All right, Congresswoman Kay Granger says she will not seek re-election. Granger was first elected in 1996 and made history as the first Republican woman to represent Texas in the House. She also made history while in Congress as the first Republican woman to head the House Appropriations Committee and the first Republican woman to sit on the Defense Appropriations Subcommittee. The 80-year-old Republican House Appropriations Chairwoman will serve out the remainder of her term. In the Texas constitutional amendment election November 7th, Proposition 10 would free certain medical or biomedical property from taxation on that property's value. It would clear equipment used in the manufacturing of medical or biomedical products or the products themselves from taxation on that property's value. Join us next Tuesday for coverage of the election.
Here is your viewer poll this afternoon. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote. The question is, how do you plan to vote for Proposition 10? Are you for it or are you against it? We want to hear from you. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And of course, you can vote early all this week in Victoria County. There are extended hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Thursday and Friday. You can vote at the Dr. Patty Dotson Public Health Center, 2805 Classroom A. Here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca Wave. A joint project between the TxDOT and Formosa Plastics is underway on FM 1593 with utility adjustments being made. And Calhoun County Sheriff's Office narcotics investigator is retiring after 31 years of service. Plus, Port Lavaca held their yearly Monster Mile Mash Halloween celebration on October 28th at the Lighthouse Beach. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com.
Governor Abbott says Texas has won Site Selection Magazine's Governor's Cup for a record-shattering 11th year in a row. The award highlights top-performing states from job creation and capital investment. The governor was joined by Secretary of State Jane Nelson, Economic Development and Tourism Executive Director Adriana Cruz, and other state and business leaders at a press conference.
Texas ranked number 1 in the United States for the most new jobs this past month. Number 1 in the United States for the most new jobs this past year. Texas has led the nation for exports for 21 years in a row. This past year, Texas became home to more Fortune 500 companies than any other state in America. Our economy, because of all of our businesses combined together, now is $2.4 trillion per year in gross domestic product, making Texas the 8th largest economy in the entire world.
Site Selection Magazine publishes information for expansion planning decision makers, CEOs, corporate real estate executives, and facility planners, human resource managers, and site selection consultants. And congratulations to Emily Bennett and her puppy Luna. Emily submitted Luna dressed as Dolly Parton with the caption, "Doggy Parton has arrived, y'all." Luna received the most votes in our Halloween pet costume contest on crossroadstoday.com. Emily and Luna won a $100 Visa gift card courtesy of Navarro Small Animal Clinic. Thanks to everyone who submitted their Halloween photos.
Very cute. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. 3 generations of Palestinian American families were killed in an Israeli airstrike. Straight ahead on 25 News Now at 5, the latest on the Israel-Hamas war.
Also ahead, rescue teams in Kentucky working to save people trapped underneath a collapsed multi-story building. Bring you back this story. Hate crimes in the U.S. rise as the FBI director is warning the escalating Israel-Hamas war could inspire violence in the U.S.
In the wake of the escalating conflict between Israel and Hamas, FBI Director Christopher Wray warned threats against the Jewish community are reaching historic levels.
The ongoing war in the Middle East has raised the threat of an attack against Americans in the United States to a whole nother level.
In Syracuse, New York, Cornell student Patrick Dye appeared in federal court after being charged with posting threats to kill or injure Jewish people, including students at his university. After waiving his right to a bail hearing, Dye is being held in jail, where he faces up to 5 years behind bars. This as Governor Kathy Hochul announced a series of actions following a surge in hate and bias incidents in the weeks following the October 7th Hamas terror attacks. The governor's list includes expanding a social media analysis unit to monitor threats on college campuses and granting $25 million towards increasing security for at-risk community groups and cultural centers.
No one should be afraid to walk from their dorm or their dining hall to a classroom. That is a basic right that every New Yorker has.
Before a Senate committee, Wray pointing to a new alarming case out of Houston, where authorities believe a man was studying how to build bombs while posting online about killing Jewish people. And last week, police arrested this Las Vegas man for allegedly threatening to assault, kidnap, or murder Nevada Senator Jackie Rosen, the only Jewish woman in the chamber.
I'm feeling the same as Jews are feeling all around the world, under attack and under threat.
Director Wray says the FBI is tackling the rise in anti-Semitism through several efforts, including joint terrorism task forces. He says it's not a time for panic, but rather for vigilance. Emwin, ABC News, Washington.
And a Palestinian-American family in Minnesota says Israeli airstrikes on Gaza killed 3 generations of their family. They claim 42 relatives were killed in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. The husband says 2 explosions on October 19th killed his wife's 4 brothers, a sister, and most of their children, but no sources have verified that claim as of yet. Israel has launched multiple airstrikes on Gaza City since October 7th, after Hamas militants killed more than 1,000 people. And now, after more than 3 weeks of siege, the first Palestinians were allowed to leave Gaza. There were hundreds of dual passport holders and multiple people in serious condition. Israeli airstrikes pounded a densely populated area for the 2nd day in a row. Jordan has recalled its ambassador from Israel. Jordan also told Israel's ambassador to remain out of the country in protest over the humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza.
Kentucky's governor says a man died after he and a co-worker were trapped beneath a collapsed 11-story building. The building was being demolished at an abandoned mines coal preparation plant. Kentucky's emergency management says the building in Martin County collapsed around 6:30 p.m. Tuesday, trapping the workers beneath multiple floors of concrete and steel. As for the other man, no additional details about his injuries were released. The University of Southern Mississippi is the first college campus in Mississippi to have Narcan emergency kits installed at residence halls. Through a recent grant, Narcan is now available for use across USM's Hattiesburg campus. Each emergency kit comes with 2 doses of Narcan, a CPR mask, plus written and spoken instructions on how to give someone the medicine. USM has started training residence hall staff on how to use the Narcan kits if someone needs them. One health educator says she hopes they never need those kits. You know, lung cancer is the leading cause of death in the U.S.
But today, the American Cancer Society have released new guidelines for lung cancer screenings.
It's a potentially deadly disease. Lung cancer kills more people in the U.S. than colon, breast, and prostate cancers combined. But early detection can save lives.
Only about 5% of those that are eligible for lung cancer screening actually are being screened.
Previously, the recommendation was for anyone between the ages of 50 to 80 with at least a 20-pack per year smoking history who currently smoke cigarettes or quit within the past 15 years to be screened annually for lung cancer. But the American Cancer Society is now advising doctors to remove that time since quit criteria.
What we found was that while there was initially sort of a decrease or leveling of risk of lung cancer, as a patient ages, the risk of lung cancer increases significantly.
Dr. William Dayhut says this update will make it easier to know who should be screened for lung cancer.
People don't have to sort of calculate when someone quits smoking. And by changing our guidelines, we're actually going to increase the number of eligible patients by about 37%, and which means by about 5 million more Americans will now be eligible for lung cancer screening.
The screening is a quick low-dose CT scan of the chest, since coverage is largely driven by screening recommendations from the U.S. Preventive Services Task Force, and that agency has not currently adopted this update. Insurance may or may not cover lung cancer screenings based on this updated ACS guideline, but Dayhut hopes that will change.
We're hopeful that once our guidelines are in place, people will look at the value of that.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Here's some of the top headlines you can read in the Cuero Record. Cuero Regional Hospital is recognized nationally for their stroke care, and DeWitt County Commissioners Curtis G. Affler-Bach retires after 19 years of service. Plus, the Lady Gobblers are district champions. You can read these stories and more at the DeWittCountyToday.com.
Well, take a look at that live shot. Lots of sunshine. All the clouds and the gloomy weather has gone away. We are looking at temperatures slowly rising, though, for the next couple of days. For today, we were in the 60s. Tomorrow, we'll be in the 70s. We'll be back with more coming up after this. Well, good afternoon, everybody. As I mentioned, we're in the 60s today. Let's go see how actual warm it got. 64. That's as warm as it got today after a 39 low. So those of you that were out there, you know, James, my favorite part getting up to walk the dog in the morning is when the dog looks out the window and says, no, I'm not going.
Never mind.
It's too cold. You might have had that activity this morning. Obviously, no rain for the beginning of November, but we are now at 31-24 for the year. Of course, skies cleared up yesterday afternoon just in time for the trick-or-treaters, and today absolute sunshine. High pressure is on top of us. Tomorrow morning, it won't be quite as cold. It'll be in the mid-40s. Get a load of the counties from Waco out to just north of Houston that are going to be under that freeze watch warning for tomorrow morning. That's tomorrow morning. That's for them. We don't have to worry about that. For us, we're looking at about 40 as an overnight low, and slowly but surely we'll start warming up those temperatures as well. So we're looking from 64 today to 70 tomorrow. With abundant sunshine, we're going to stay slowly climbing out of the cold weather. Now here's the high pressure that brought us a nice north wind. It has already moved to the east, so now in the next 24 hours, we're going to see the wind sort of turn around. And you got to remember, everything's flowing around these lines. So you can see they're getting a southerly wind, which is bringing the warm front. They're getting the northerly wind, which is bringing the cold air down into deep south. And we are going to start picking up a southeasterly wind around it. And that's slowly going to warm our temperatures up and bring back the cloud cover and humidity. Yesterday I mentioned this next big storm on the west coast, but as of today we're just going to give up on it. I don't think it's going to make it down into our area. It's going to go almost due east across the Canadian border, and the frontal system will not get much farther south than maybe Kansas and Oklahoma. So I took the rain out of the forecast because it doesn't look like we're going to get anything in the short term. Meanwhile, down south, we're watching Hurricane Pilar. And Pilar, we're watching it carefully. I'll tell you why. Because its track is to the south, or rather to the west. And that's fine. If Pilar were to come up a little bit farther north up here, then we would have the problem of it getting caught up in the westerly winds. Now, up high where the airplanes fly, I like to do that because it rhymes, you see. Up high where the airplanes fly, we have the westerly prevailing winds. In other words, up in this area, generally the winds flow from west to east. That's why you see the storms come in California and go out in New York. Well, we have a very strong jet. You see all these lines that are very strong. So if Pilar were to wander a little bit farther north, she would do that right turn and sort of give us some problems. But at this point in time, Pilar is staying so far south that we don't have to worry about it. So if you get a chance to do a little fishing tomorrow, we've got fairly nice weather. The winds will settle down. We'll get to 47 in the morning, 70 in the afternoon. Well, a few clouds showing up for Port Lavaca. And in Cuero, we're starting off at 38, getting up to 68. A few little clouds beginning to show up as that south wind comes back in. But you can very clearly see the temperatures ramping up to 77, then 81. 83 sounds like a barbecue weekend to me, and we're staying on the dry side of things until at least next Wednesday. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Back to you.
Thank you, Matt. Coming up next on 25 News Now at 5, we'll take a look at Wall Street, plus a potential investigation into ExxonMobil and Chevron's acquisitions is underway.
Taking a look at your stocks, the Dow up 221 points, the S&P 500 up 45 points, and the Nasdaq up 210 points. Oil down 58 cents, closing at $80.44 a barrel. About 24 Democrats want federal regulators to look into the mega takeovers last month by ExxonMobil and Chevron. The lawmakers wrote a letter to the FTC. They warned these deals will likely harm competition. They're also concerned it could raise consumer prices, limit U.S. production, and suppress wages. In October, Exxon reached a deal to buy rival Pioneer Natural Resources for $60 billion. Days later, Chevron revealed plans to buy Hess for $53 billion. Exxon and Chevron are already the two biggest oil companies in the U.S.
Well, the price of a turkey is way down ahead of Thanksgiving. Wells Fargo's Thanksgiving food report shows 15-pound turkeys are down 29% from last year. That's the wholesale price, but it has still resulted in a 13% drop at grocery stores. Farmers raised more birds this year to meet Thanksgiving demand, and the price of refrigerated trucking used to transport all those turkeys is also down. A ban on COVID-19 vaccine mandates for employees of private businesses in the state is on its way to the governor's desk. You can read this story by the Texas Tribune at crossroadstoday.com.
Stay with us. We'll take one last look at your forecast. Plus, a new Thanksgiving pizza was released just in time for the holiday. Plus, here's a look at world news tonight right after 25 News Now at 5.
Coming up tonight, breaking news. Some U.S. citizens get out of Gaza. Hundreds, though, remain trapped tonight. In the U.S., the student charged with those threats against Jewish students threatening to shoot up a dining hall. The major pileup turning deadly on I-80. And Donald Trump Jr. on the stand next.
Experience our streaming service Crossroads Today Plus. Stream our daily newscast and much more using your connected TV. Just download Crossroads Today Plus on your Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, Apple TV, or Android TV. Search Crossroads Today Plus.
All right, take a look at this. DiGiorno has come out with a Thanksgiving pizza perfect for people who don't like cooking. Toppings include turkey, sweet potatoes, green beans, cranberries, and crispy onions and gravy. What about the mashed potatoes? Did I say that?
I guess you could dress it on top, you know, put a dollop on it.
Even though it's already sold out, the company says it will release more for pre-orders every Wednesday until Thanksgiving. I love pizza, and that looks amazing.
It's turkey on a slice.
It looks good.
Thanksgiving on a slice.
I like it. I would try it.
Well, all the leftovers we do, you know, with sandwiches.
Well, that's another idea.
Make
You
a
could
pizza.
Make a pizza out of the leftovers.
Right, right.
Or have turkey soup for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
This is what happens at my house. Anyway, folks, we've got a couple of days of very nice weather. We're going to slowly warm up. We were 64 today, tomorrow 70, 77 Friday, and 81 by the time we get to the weekend. And it's going to be sunny and warm days and cool nights. So I think you're going to like the weekend weather as we look at the next 7 days. I don't see any real rain chance out there other than the clouds rolling back in on over the weekend because of the southeast wind that's coming back in. So otherwise, enjoy yourselves. We've got a good run of non-rainy days.
Barbecue weather, you call it, huh?
Well, you know, I think this is the best time to get in the backyard and fire up the pit.
Okay.
Do a little bit of grilling because in the summertime, it was just too hot.
It was too hot.
I agree.
All right, Mac, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 6. World News Tonight with David Muir is up next.